Day one of my Camino. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm a lot jet lagged. Saint Jean-Pied-de-Port is breathtaking, but next is the hike over the Pyrenees. I couldn't have asked for better weather, although later in the day it got a little bit windy. There's a small hostel here at Orison, and many people use that as their first stop. I was going on to Roncesvalles. Everywhere I turned, the views were like a picture postcard. I made it to Roncesvalles, and I stayed in my first albergue. Just left Zubiri. It's about 7:30 in the morning. I had a great night's sleep. I slept about 10 hours. I was pretty tired after coming out of Roncesvalles, and I made the mistake of not hydrating. So I got some muscle cramps yesterday, but I feel great this morning. Today I'm on my way to Pamplona. Good morning. It's 6:30 and I'm just now leaving Pamplona. Most everybody is still asleep in the albergue in the east northwest, and I've got about 15 miles today to Puente Reina. Puente Reina. So Pamplona was pretty cool. I saw all the sights, but the place is just packed with tourists. The Camino goes right through the University of Navarra. Here I am at the Alto de Perdón, or Height of Forgiveness, the famous statues. It's a private room for me tonight with a good meal and a good night's sleep. Well, good morning. As you can see, it's still dark outside. So it's about 10 after 6. And I'm just leaving the hotel, which was a nice experience. I got to sleep in a room by myself, but I actually decided that I like the albergues better, just because there was more company. It's a little bit lonely being alone. Anyway, I had a great dinner, and I'm off to today's adventure. So today I'm going to Estrella, and I get to pass over the bridge that is pictured on my pilgrim's credentials. So when you hike the Camino, you carry a pilgrim's credential, and every day you get a stamp and put it in this credential. It shows that you completed the whole thing. So here I go. Let's see what today brings. Well, good morning, Buen Camino. It's about 6:30 and I'm just leaving Australia. What a beautiful little town this is. I had a great time here. In fact, I stayed up late for me. Didn't get to bed till about 10 o'clock. which is crazy because I've been going to bed like 9. Anyway, I'm on my way to Los Arcos this morning. We'll see what adventures we have there. Here I ran across the famous Fuente del Vino at the Bodega Sarache, and basically we got our free glass of wine. Good morning. Well, today I got an early start, but I didn't do a video. I've been hiking with another guy from Phoenix, actually, and we are the same age, so it's nice to have somebody my age on the Camino. So I'm in a little town right now. It's the church. I thought it was very pretty. There are birds are flying around. Just very nice. We're off to Logroño today, and it's going to be about another 16 miles today. Just having a great time. Weather has just been wonderful. Couldn't ask for better. Well, good morning. Here I am in Logroño. I spent the night here. I got about 9 hours sleep. It was just great. I'm breaking up my routine just a little bit because the Camino has been so crowded that it's been difficult to find a place to stay. traditionally you just walk, and when you get to where you want to go, you walk in and say, is there a bed? And you stay. But it's become so popular, probably pent up demand from the COVID issue, that it's been difficult to find a place to stay. So I'm staying tonight in a place called Ventosa. It's only about 8 miles from here. And so it's a short walk today. Hopefully what that'll do is get me out of the main crowd and make it a little easier to stay places. At any rate, buen camino, and I'll talk to you later. This is a city park with a pond, and I don't know if you can see, but it's full of fish and ducks and geese and all kinds of wildlife. And here's a sign saying, don't eat the animals. I just thought that was so funny. It's hard to see, but this fence is right up against a freeway. People have taken sticks and made crosses and embedded them in the fence. I added one too. Here we find the remains of a hospital that was built for pilgrims in the Middle Ages. This is in front of a modern winery. This area is known for its wineries. This street is very typical of the villages we walk through in Spain. Very narrow, not built for cars. This is the facade of the hospital that we saw earlier. It was built in 1185 and moved to this location in 1887. At the end of the day, I had another typical pilgrim's meal. Well, good morning. I got going this morning right around 6 o'clock. As you can see, it's just getting light. There comes the sunrise. It's just beautiful. I have a long day today. I'm going to a town called Goronyo, and I was able to find an Airbnb there. It's been real difficult finding places to stay, but I'm booked up through a town called Ages. A couple of days. Anyway, it's still having a great time. Sleep was difficult last night. I was in a albergue. There were 8 of us in the dorm, and I think there was no one that didn't snore. But other than that, I slept pretty good. Anyway, I'll talk to you later, and buen camino. Today was the hardest work day I've had so far. I walked about 40 kilometers, which is about 24 and a half miles. I didn't do that because I wanted to. I did it because I couldn't find a place to stay in between. I'm very proud of myself that at almost 68 years old, I was able to walk 24 miles, which is almost a marathon. And I didn't suffer. It was difficult, and when I finished, I took a couple of Tylenol for the first time on this trip. I've now traveled about 200 kilometers, and which is about 135 miles, I think. I met 2 men from Colombia. One spoke English very well because he'd lived in the United States, and the other spoke no English. They were wonderful gentlemen, and they bought me a beer. One of the men also convinced the woman running the local cafe to open early and make me a hamburger, because I was really hungry. That hamburger was the best I've ever had in my life. It wasn't made of beef, it was made of a combination of pork and veal. What a great hamburger. I slept in a rural casa, which was modern and beautiful. There were 6 rooms in the house. Each room had its own bathroom. There was a living room and an outside area to sit. There was also a kitchen. In the morning I got up and they had breakfast ready. Breakfast in Spain isn't like breakfast in the United States. It consisted of a loaf of bread, some fruit, and some cookies. But they had a coffee maker. The great thing about the coffee maker was I got to drink as much coffee as I wanted. In Spain you order coffee and it comes in a little tiny cup. It's an espresso. If you ask for coffee Americano, you get an espresso with some hot water added. Only 562 kilometers left to go to get to Santiago. Tomorrow it's on to Belorado, where I'm staying in an albergue. Well, good morning. So I'm just on my way to Belorado after having a really great night's sleep last night in a really cool place. Apartment was like, well, it was a house, and it was almost like living in somebody's home. I got up this morning, they had breakfast ready. Breakfast in Spain is not like breakfast in the United States. I had like toast and jam and some fruit and a couple of cookies. That was my breakfast. But they had a coffee maker, so I had a great big bunch of coffee. It was terrific. Anyway, this town was really nice. After my forced march yesterday, I'm only going about maybe 15 kilometers today, so it's not going to be too bad. So, buen camino. I was really looking forward to this. Wait for it. Here it comes. Wait for it. There it is. Oh, dang. The massage place is closed. This is my favorite midday snack, a Napolitana and a Cafe Americano. A Napolitana is like a chocolate croissant. These are two brothers I met from Croatia. This albergue doesn't open up till 2 o'clock, and this is how we line up to wait. This albergue, Quattro Cantones, was really nice. It had a swimming pool and a really nice restaurant. I took advantage of both. I had to say goodbye to the cool albergue with a swimming pool. Well, good morning. I'm up and out at 5:40 this morning. As you can see, I lost my comb, but somewhere there'll be another one. At any rate, I had a great night last night. I slept well. There wasn't too much snoring. The albergue that I stayed in was just really nice. I had a pool, went swimming, as you may have seen in the last video, and it was just really a good time. Nice people, pleasant surroundings, very, very clean. Every place I've stayed has been super clean. At any rate, it's not dawn yet, and I'm just leaving the town of Belorado. I'm on to another town called Agies. So I'll see you down the trail. Buen camino. This was a sobering place on the Camino. It was a monument on top of a hill, quite a ways from any town. The plaque on the monument read, Mount La Pedraja, 1936. In this place, about 300 people were shot dead by those who supported Francisco Franco's government coup against the Second Republic legitimately established, and originated the Spanish Civil War between 1936 and 1939. They were murdered in the early months of the Civil War because of their political ideals and freedom defense. This humble monument, made by their relatives, will serve as a reminder so we will never forget their memories. Rest in peace. Interestingly, there was a Spanish plaque and an English plaque. Can you hear the cuckoo? San Juan de Ortega is where most of my Camino friends were staying that night, but I went on to Ages. The church at Ages is a small 12th century church that I found really interesting. The remains of the brother of Ferdinand I are buried there, and interestingly enough, Ferdinand I murdered his brother. Pretty nice digs in Ages. Not too many people in this bunk room, and I had a nice bed. Please like and subscribe if you like these videos. In the meantime, I'm on to the next adventure. Buen Camino. So I'm standing in front of the Cathedral de Santa Maria. Cathedral St. Mary. This is a World Heritage Site in Burgos, and it's absolutely massive. I've never seen anything quite like it. The priceless artworks that are in here are just amazing. So enjoy the video about the Cathedral at Burgos. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and watch my next video. Until then, buen camino. Well, good morning. So I'm getting out early today. It's 5:45, and as you can see by me wearing this hat that cost me a whole bunch of money here in Burgos, that it's pretty cold here. So this morning it's about 40 degrees. Fortunately the wind's not blowing, but hey, you take it where you get it. Anyway, today I'm leaving Burgos. I really enjoyed Burgos. It's a really beautiful town. People were friendly. It's clean. There's a little bit of graffiti, but not much. The cathedral was just overwhelming. And so now I head out into Mesetas, which is kind of like going to be like walking across the Great Plains. So wheat fields and grain and whatever. That's going to be several days of flat walking. So they say this part of the journey is for the mind, and some people have difficulty with it. Some people hop on a bus here in Burgos and skip the thing altogether. I'm not going to skip it. So today I have planned a 25-mile day. I really don't want to do that, but that's where I could find a place to stay. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, talk to you later. Buen camino. After a long 20-mile day, this albergue was a real treat. It had a spa, a hydrotherapy spa. It was huge, it was brand new, and they served us paella instead of the usual pilgrim meal. We had just a great time here and actually had a little party. One of the people that I hiked with said this was one of the funnest days they had on the Camino. Well, good morning. Today is day 14, so I've been officially on the Camino for 2 weeks, and I'm having a great time still. Last night I stayed in a albergue that was just really beautiful, brand new, and it was big. There was actually beds left over last night. So today I have a short day. I'm only going 10K. Yesterday I thought I was going 25 miles, and I misread my itinerary, so I did 20 miles, and today I'm only doing 6. So it's kind of a rest day for me. So one of the things I wanted to tell you is I find that there's something that I call 5-minute friends. Is you meet someone and you're best friends for 5 minutes, and then you don't see them again for several days or never again. And these are people from all over the world. Everybody is so friendly, and no matter the language problems or whatever, it's like having a new best friend every few minutes. So I'll talk to you later. Buen Camino. So I just saw a sign that said I had 246 miles to go. I'm not so sure that's correct. That would put me at the halfway point. And according to what I've calculated, I actually have gone just under 200 miles, which would mean that I got another 50 miles before I'm at the halfway point. So, I don't know. Because I knew I was only walking 10K today, I decided I was going to sleep in. It's pretty hard to do with a few thousand people getting ready and getting up ready to go. Actually, it was only probably about 30 or 40. I got up around 6:30, took my time and had breakfast there. Then I began to walk. I came across the ruins of a 14th century convent. The name was San Antone. I took a lot of pictures there, and I had some refreshments. There was a hostel there attached to the ruins. As I entered the small town of Castrojeriz, I noticed a castle up on top of the hill. It appeared to be in ruins. I rolled into town around 10:30 in the morning. I was staying at a casa rural. Casa rural is something like an Airbnb. You stay in someone's home, and they would normally prepare dinner for you and maybe even breakfast. I got there really early because you're not supposed to check in until about 2 o'clock. So I went to the Casa Rural and I asked them if I could leave my bags. The lady there was a real character. Her name was Annalise. And although she didn't speak very much English, we got along really well. I decided to leave my bags there and hike up to see the castle. On the way, I saw these houses built into the hillsides. Some of them looked very old. I called them hobbit houses. They were actually houses where people were living there still. Castrojeriz village is considered one of the landmarks of historic interest in the Camino de Santiago. Its rich history includes the Visigoths and the Romans. They say that the castle was founded by Julius Caesar. Important battles between Christians and Moors took place here. The first mention of this castle dates from the 9th century during the skirmishes with the Muslim forces. There are 3 clearly differentiated sections: the Roman part, which is today reduced to an almost hidden square tower, the Visigoth part comprising the extension to the castle with different masonry work from the Roman part, and the medieval part. It was occupied up until the 16th century. After visiting the castle, I returned to Castrojeriz. I stopped at a little roadside cafe and had a cup of coffee, and then I returned to my casa rural. When I got there, Annalise had made hors d'oeuvres, and she opened up a bottle of apple cider, hard apple cider from San Sebastian. That was really good. And then we got into the red wine. That was fun too. Once I had the hors d'oeuvres, and we had barbecue later. She barbecued chorizo. That was good. Once that was all done, then I enjoyed this massage chair that was in my room. I really took advantage of that. I just had a great time at this place. It was very relaxing. One of my favorite days. I wonder what cool adventure awaits me for tomorrow. Well, we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, if you like these videos, as I left Castrojeriz, it was before dawn, and this yellow arrow was actually projected onto the wall. I thought that was pretty cool. Good morning. So it's day 15, and as you can see, it's really cold outside. It's about high 30s, low 40s, and I'm just leaving Castrojeriz, where I had just a marvelous day. The innkeeper there was a really outgoing lady, spoke no English, but we managed to get our point across to each other with her pidgin English and my pidgin Spanish. At any rate, I'm off for about a 20-mile hike today, and I'm just getting ready to go over this massive, huge hill. I'll show you here. Hold on. So yesterday, I thought I was on the Mesetas because someone told me, well, that's where it starts. It was after Burgos. Actually, I'm about to climb this hill and enter onto the Mesetas. So once I'm over this, I think it's going to be flat for quite some time. At any rate, I'll talk to you later, and buen camino. The video doesn't do this justice. It was really steep. This guy was going up this steep hill on this hand-crank bicycle. I asked if I could take his picture. What a stud. Okay, it's about 20 minutes later, and I made it up that brutal hill, but now I'm pretty much sure I'm on the Mesetas. Check this out. Awesome. I ran into my 5-minute friends from Colombia. What nice guys. Only 263 miles to go. Check out the storks nesting on top of the church. I ran into Jessica again after 2 weeks. We had started on the same day, and this is a fellow from San Diego that I met. It turns out that the rain in Spain does fall on the plain. These are my friends from Canada, Paul and Cynthia. I ran into them quite often on the Camino and actually saw them at the end. My long walk for the day ended in Villarmentero de Campos in Palencia. I stayed in a hotel there. I had a really nice dinner and a much-needed rest. This place was very interesting, full of history. I copied this from a pamphlet found in the lobby. It says, located in Villarmentero de Campos, halfway between Formista and Carrión de los Condes, and 37 kilometers away from Palencia, in the heart of Camino de Santiago, La Casona de Dona Pietra is the last new jewel of the country houses wide range in Castilla and León. In a rural environment absolutely thought for the rest, in the middle of a romantic route of Palencia, La Casona used to be an ancient pilgrims' hospital that written and oral documents transmitted generation by generation are known. La Casona de Dona Petra has been built over the thick walls of that hospital with a rectangular base and 3 floors, 2 at the beginning. It was built in a traditional handmade way with an amazing ceiling. Remains of Jewish deeds have been discovered inside the house. They were inside a kind of box inside of a wall. It was also discovered a big silo whose antiquity and usefulness in the past are unknown. This silo is in the subfloor in one of the rooms. This pit was in the subfloor and it had it glassed over so you could see down. I tried to take a picture, but it didn't come out. To my surprise, my room actually had 5 beds, but I was the only one staying there. Time for a good night's rest. Well, good morning. Here I go again. It's 7 a.m. and I'm just leaving the hotel. It was really a very nice place. They had a strange archaeological site there that was right in the middle of the lobby that they covered with glass that you could walk on. There was some kind of a deep, they called it a silo. I think maybe it was a well. They have no idea what it was for, but they said it was a deep, ancient hole. And so instead of covering it up, they let us look at it. So that was interesting. At any rate, I'm back on the Mesetas, and I'm just leaving, let's see if I don't butcher this name. Yeah, I already butchered it. Villarmenteros de Campos. And there's already people walking. It's a beautiful sunrise, but it's about 40 degrees outside, so it's cold again. At any rate, we'll see what happens today. Buen camino. This was a real nice surprise. This guy set up a mobile coffee bar out in the middle of a field. I wonder if he had permits for this. I was really beginning to understand what they were referring to when they said this part of the Camino was for the mind. You have lots of time to reflect and then just enjoy this beautiful landscape. I found my albergue for the night, and although there were 4 beds in the room, there was only 2 of us. Good night, and buen camino.